Aze tuto uli kwa pani nani Natuwabeshe baboka mwati nani Success, knowledge, tiye pani Bela kube uwa bako ni sensa
Tutawa abantu
Uwa bako ni sensa
Usakamana abantu
Hi, fam. The following tutorial is another exam preparation and a foundational topic in English paper 2 to prepare adequately for both grade 12 internal and external exams. This is the tutor, Mr. Sensa, and if it's your first time on this channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button, share the video, like the video to let the channel grow, and be able to pause the video once you've understood when I begin answering some questions. So our main focus under discussion is question tags, but when we talk about question tags, these are short form questions that are usually used at the end of the statement, but they serve two purposes. A good or any question tag will always be there in order to encourage a reply from the person you're talking to. Giving an example, when I say this is available and then someone doesn't respond because it is a direct statement, I can say isn't it. When I say isn't it, I expect someone to either say yes or no in response to what I'm trying to consult about. So I'm trying to say these are short form questions, but usually they are used at the end of a statement. They serve two purposes. And the first purpose is that they encourage a reply, in the sense that there are certain statements that cannot just be answered because they are not in form of questions. It is then that the question tag is going to play an important role. So then, to confirm whether something is true or not. Then, let's begin. Supply suitable question tags. Number 1, you was so upset. One thing to understand is that every question tag will be formed from the verb, then plus the subject. Every question tag will be formed from the verb and the subject. We'll be targeting these two things. So let's begin. He was so upset. Our subject is he, meaning this is the male person under our discussion. Then our verb is was, describing the tense under which this sentence is falling into. So this means to say our verb is was, then our subject is he. And these are two rules we're going to follow. A positive statement will be followed by a negative question tag. How do you tell if a sentence is positive? A positive statement will always agree with the idea of the sentence. You are so upset. That's a statement which describes something that had already happened. So this is positive because it doesn't contain a note. But once a statement is like they did support the idea, in actual sense, that is not happening. As a result, this is a negative statement. A negative statement will be followed by a positive question tag. Let's begin. You were so upset. So our verb is it was. But since for this verb, there is no negativity or a not, that means our verb was positive. We are going to attach a negative, which is not. And then we're going to use, that is our subject, but the subject in every statement should be used in form of a pronoun. This can apply where you have a name like Lucy. Lucy and Mary, these people are females. So if we are just trying to talk about one name, we could probably say she. That should be the reference. He was so upset, so I'm going to say wasn't. We're going to say wasn't he. Most importantly, don't forget the question mark. Number 2. Number 2, we're saying they did support the idea. Remember, our verb plus subject should be together. So this is a group of people whom we are referring to. Remember, when we say they, it contains 2 plus people, and then our verb is did, but in this instance, it already contains a note. And like I said, a negative statement will then be followed by a positive question tag. So we are just going to get rid of the negativity or negative word. Then I'm going to remain with a did. Remember, always start with a verb. So I'm going to say did they. Then I'm going to put a question mark. Having done that, then it means we've answered correctly. Number 3. It rarely rains in the desert. It rarely rains in the desert. There are words where you cannot be able to depict clearly what kind of verb was used. But then we should understand that these are negative words. We can have rarely, we can have seldomly, we can be able to have other words that at least when they are used, you already know that something is not happening. But if it's happening, then basically it's about chancing or chances. So it rarely rains in the desert. This is as good as saying it doesn't rain in the desert. Why have I used the word does? It's because I'm talking about one thing. So here we're going to find that once you understand that rarely can mean doesn't or don't, depending on what you're talking about. It doesn't rain in the desert. So we're going to get rid of the nots, then we're going to say does. Then our subject here is it. Most importantly, don't forget the question mark. Does it? Then number 4, Lucy and Mary are included on the list. Remember, we have 2 names. Had it been that we only had one name, to the subject under our answering, we would have been able to say she. In as much as we are talking about 2 names, and that is Lucy and Mary, they are going to become they. And our verb is are, and the statement is positive, in the sense that Lucy and Mary are included, so the statement itself already agrees. So we're going to say or, then we're going to include a note. This is going to become aren't, but you can't say aren't Lucy and Mary. Instead, we're going to say aren't they. So this is going to become our answer, and like I have overemphasized, make sure to be putting these question marks. They play an important role to convince an examiner that what you've quickly done is something that is well presented. From out there, these are to mention some of the examples that you can be able to use in order to support the idea under question tags. You can use the same concept in order to relate to other exam-based questions and invest your time in proper practice in order to create self-reliance. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Turn on the notification bell so that you'll be alert each time I post a video. Share the video, alert others in order to let the channel grow. Stay tuned and stay glued, stay focused, and all in all, keep believing in yourself. This has been Mr. Sensor from Sensor Academy School of Tuitions. For now, it's a goodbye.
Azetuto ulikopa ni nani? Natuwabeshe baboka mwati nani? Success, knowledge, tiye pani bela kube babo uwabako ni sensa.
Tutawa abantu
uwabako ni sensa.